Nice to have in our studios today Mike Brown, a GOP candidate for the Kansas Secretary of State's office. Mr. Brown, welcome. Nice to have you in Goodland.
And it's good to be with you and your listeners. Good morning.
You've been traveling around. You have several stops today on Wednesday. And what do you have so far that's scheduled?
So we've got several stops this morning with business leaders, and then we have a luncheon this afternoon, and then we have this evening a meeting with a group in Sharon Springs. So it's going to be a very busy day, as yesterday was, as every day in the campaign is and should be.
Sure, I understand Thursday you'll be in Colby, but nothing firm at this point.
Right, nothing firm. We haven't totally got that nailed down yet. We're working on it.
Why are you running for the Secretary of State's office?
So I'm running 100% on a platform of election integrity first, and that is an encapsulation of the thought that says that we have to get your Kansan voter confident, 100% confident in their elections and the outcomes, and that we trust our election process. There is much in the way of concern and some lacking in trust that has occurred in the last several elections, and it's got a lot of people questioning what our Secretary of State is doing and what he has been doing, including me. So I decided I was going to run. I'm a businessman, come from a third-generation construction company in Kansas City metropolitan area, and I'm a businessman. I know how to make the trains run on time, and we need that desperately in our election systems right now.
What do you support in your campaign, and what do you not support?
So let's start with the quick list of the things that what I intend to do as the Secretary of State, which will kind of sum up what I'm not for, and what I am for. Ballot drop boxes. I have huge concern with ballot drop boxes. Every county in our state has at least one sitting out at the corner in front of the courthouse, down on the corner, in the dark, no camera, no light, nobody's monitoring it. I have a huge problem with the ballot drop boxes. State statute does not specifically say that we can use drop boxes, but it does not prohibit them either. If we remain in that position of flux in the middle, I intend on day one as the Secretary of State to sign the paperwork and send out to the county clerks that the drop boxes be removed on day one. They're gone. Those need to go. Those have created nothing but a loophole for potential mischief, and it is creating huge doubt in the voter's mind. When they see that box sitting out there all by itself in the dark, it causes a lot of question, and we need to remove those kinds of questions. We have to make sure that people have full confidence. The other thing that I intend to do that our current Secretary of State has not done since he's been there is I intend to hire a law enforcement official and a prosecutor. That is not because I think that there is widespread, rampant election crime occurring in our state. But I want people to know in our state and outside of our state that if you come to Kansas and you break our election laws, we're coming for you. You better sleep with one eye open. I'm coming, and I'm bringing my crew with me, and we're going to prosecute people to the fullest extent. It will be a non-lenient position. If you intentionally break the law, you are a criminal, and you'll be prosecuted as one. So those are a couple of the really big top two issues. There are many that as we drill down, and I'm happy to go through more as we move along in the conversation. But those are two big ones.
What are you hearing from people that you visit throughout your tour of Kansas?
I am hearing that they're questioning our elections. They're questioning the outcome of our elections. They're concerned that our current Secretary of State is avoiding answering the questions head on, that our current Secretary of State, if you contact his office and you ask a question about ballot drop boxes or about anything to do with the election process, you very likely will wind up blacklisted, which is kind of an ominous, scary word for they just won't communicate with you anymore. But when you're the Secretary of State, you have an obligation to communicate with every citizen in the state. And having created a blacklist, to me, is an abomination. It's inexcusable. That should not have happened at all. And I know someone personally who is on that list, and it's not acceptable. These are the kinds of things that I continue to hear as I move across the state and in phone calls and with supporters that they're hearing from other people. It's those kinds of things that where they've built a bit of a fortress around the Secretary of State's office, and they're not listening to the people out here, to you and to me and to your listeners. They're not paying attention. They're not listening. And if you don't listen and you're not paying attention, you cannot improve your process. I'm going to listen, and we're going to improve processes.
Mike Brown, Republican candidate for U.S. Secretary of State, Kansas Secretary of State. One more stop here, volunteers and your website. What do you have listed?
Absolutely. So the website first is Mike Brown for FOR, Mike Brown for Kansas spelled out .com, MikeBrownForKansas.com, and there's a link on the page as you scroll through and learn a little bit more about me. There's a link to sign up to volunteer to host one of our big yard signs, one of our medium yard signs, a regular yard sign, and we'll figure out a way to get it to you wherever you are in our beautiful, great plain state of Kansas. I can't wait to drive around and deliver those beautiful signs. Some are already out in Colby, as a matter of fact. Yesterday's meeting, I handed some out, and there was social media buzz. They were competing for who could get in their yard first.
All right. Well, safe travel to you, and thank you for being with us. Mike Brown, Republican candidate for Kansas Secretary of State. Enjoy your time and your visits to Kansas and the election, about 124 days away.
That's right. Can't wait, and thank you so much for your time.
You're certainly welcome.